totally incapable of or antithetical to, I guess, liberal, the classical liberal, modern conservative principles we kind of hold dear.
The Al-Qaeda and the Islamists, okay, believe that jihad means a fight that is the obligation of every Muslim. Now, this is their interpretation. And the Quran states that it is justified to retake all Arab lands. That's why I showed you those pictures at the beginning. You see what Islam controlled at one time? If you were an Islamist, you would be taught and believe that it is perfectly acceptable to do anything in those territories because those were taken away from you. They were Islamic territories, and it is your duty as a Muslim to go fight to regain those lost territories.
Wasn't it somebody else's territory first?
They don't. You're mixing apples with oranges. They don't care about that part of it. I've had that discussion many times. Understand, if it was ever once under Islamic control, a jihadist believes it should be returned to Islamic control, and that's his guidance from the Quran. Now, many other Muslims don't share that attitude. But if you're talking about an Islamic society, and if you're talking about places like, because Libya is not Islamic, it is Muslim, but the government is secular. Nobody's going to accuse Gaddafi of being a religious Muslim, except when it came into, just like Saddam was saying, when he needed to, he would always be happy to refer to the Quran or Islam. Okay. Does that help answer your question, or not? Are they not capable? Turkey is a good example of a country that is predominantly Islamic, but is modern.
That they're a secular government, at least that's one now.
Now, are there questions and are there times when it vacillates back and forth, going one direction or another? Yes, it is. But Turkey works. Albania is predominantly a Muslim country, but it is not Islamist. In fact, in Kosovo and in Bosnia, when the Islamists joined in to help the Muslims in those areas and started doing some of their nasty stuff, the locals said, hey, cut that stuff out or leave. They weren't buying into cutting off the heads and the rest of that stuff. So, yes, the answer to your question is yes, there is the potential. Lebanon. Lebanon is a teetering country right now. But then again, so are half the rest of the countries now. I know a lot of Shia in Lebanon who do not want to live under Hezbollah.
They won't speak up, will they?
Well, you get if you don't have some cover, you get assassinated.
Right.
So yeah, there is a minor problem there. Eventually, the Lebanese army is going to have to take on Hezbollah in Lebanon because you can't have two armies in one country. But in my work with the Lebanese, one of the slides I had, there's a picture of Sadr on it early on that had talked about insurgencies, and I had that picture on a slide, and it was easy for me to then pick out who the Hezbollah officers were, because they got all pissed off that I had him classified as an insurgent, because he's a hero to them. The rest of the Lebanese officers had no problem with that. In private, they will tell you what has to happen, but in public, they can't. Yes, ma'am.
Being that you've been over there and stuff, if you had a magic wand, how would you like it? But is there any end in sight?
No. I'll tell you what I
Her
would
question
say.
was, is there any end in sight? That's a great question, Cheryl.
What I'm afraid is, in Egypt, for example, the fact that they are going to have the election sooner is not good. The only real organized group in Egypt is the Muslim Brotherhood. And they've been very smart. If you go to Egypt and you go to the rural areas, they run food banks, they run clinics, they run all kinds of other welfare programs that the government doesn't run. And so they've co-opted a whole lot of people that believe these are nice guys. In southern Lebanon, you have the same thing with Hezbollah. When after the 2006 Israeli incursion into southern Lebanon, the government told the people whose houses were destroyed, well, we're going to give you money to rebuild your houses. It'll take about 18 months. Hezbollah walked in with cash out of Iran and said, here's $10,000. Rebuild your house. Who's your best friend?
Yeah.
Okay? So understand how these groups work and how it impacts people.
That sounds like Chicago will have to do practice.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Why are the liberals in our government favoring Islam?
Because they're
For a
stupid.
Muslim president. That's
Well, I'm not going to go there as far as the president and all. Understand something. If you don't believe in this country and its basic goodness, and you have the world view that America has interfered in all kinds of places and caused all kinds of trouble, then you are going to side with the underdogs. And who are the underdogs? Now, I've had this discussion with many Arabs officers when I was in Kosovo with the UN. My last position with the UN was as the chief of traffic for all of Kosovo, and my deputy was a Jordanian police captain. And he was surprised that an American hired him to be the deputy. And he was even more surprised to hear that I didn't always agree with everything Israel did. And so we had many discussions. And I will tell you that they have been taught in their schools that America is always pro-Israeli and never pro-Arab. That's not true. Those of you who really think that don't know history. We have one gentleman here who knows, in 1956, and I've asked this of many Arab officers, which Arab army threw the Israelis out of the Suez Canal in 1956? And the answer is none. When Gamal Abdel Nasser seized and nationalized the Suez Canal from the British in 1956, the British, the French, and the Israelis went in and took the canal. President Eisenhower